But all right, now we're gonna roll into another segment, segment three. We're gonna call this one the DOC. This is the dudes on cinema. This is
That's right.
our
What up,
take
Doc? What
on
up,
what's
Doc?
up, dog. What's going on with film, TV, movies, or you could just say, what's hot in cinema. And right now, I got something I want to talk about. That's my favorite subject. Uh, I'm already running on empty on mine. I might have to go get a refill, but before I do that, let me just get going and get through this segment right here. So, what's hot right now in the corner, the little world of that I like to keep up with, world of wrestling, is the Bloodline saga. Basically, this is the cinema that's going on in wrestling. I don't know, people look at wrestling and they go, and it's all fake and it's all this and it's all that. Well, they don't have stunt doubles and they don't have an off season and there's no CGI. So what's fake about that? But this is the Bloodline. This is something
Been
that's
going
been
on
going
for
on
years. A huge.
for a couple of years. Actually, I'll share my
Well, I'm talking
screen
about
with
the
you.
industry itself. Like, you gotta respect wrestling, man. Like,
Right,
you gotta
it's just
respect.
the
You're either
drama,
a fan of it or you're not. And if you're not a fan of it, you can't hate on it. I'm sorry, I gotta say that.
You can't, you can't let
You
people
gotta
hate on it
appreciate for
either.
what it is, man. Like, you really
Yeah,
do.
exactly,
I'm not a
exactly.
fan of
So
USC, but I gotta appreciate for what it is. These guys aren't boxing; they're in there doing their thing. Like, it's the same. Like, wrestling. You know me growing up. I would. You'd come visit on the summers. You get me into wrestling. Me and my mom would just keep watching wrestling until you came back to, like, And if we fell off, you pick us right back up where we fell off, and, like,
yeah,
yeah, great memories.
yeah, your mom was always down to keep up with it because it's the drama, it's the storyline. If you
She
got
loved
good
the soap opera.
storyline, then you got good wrestling. It ain't about the moves to me. Sometimes I find myself skipping over the matches just to figure out what did I miss? Because the matches are cool, but at the big shows, that's to me where the matches count. But this storyline's been going on since August 23rd, 2020. All right.
Yeah.
So basically, it starts off with, Roman Reigns was off TV for a while. He comes back and he basically lays claim, to the whole, to the belt, right? That he's going to be, he made his return after this pay-per-view, after the match was over, and he laid out both the guys that are involved in the title match. Sales were pretty much down at the time. Viewership was down, everything. So,
COVID and shit.
right. They started with the new storyline, and that's called the Bloodline. So basically, if you've paid attention at all, then like it's been about a family, right? The Inoue family, and I'll break out this family tree for you to see. So you see over here on the right hand corner, you see Peter Maivia.
Right.
That is The Rock's grandfather, right?
Right.
See Dwayne Johnson down here, his dad Rocky Johnson. He
Right.
comes straight from the top, and this guy was basically Hawaiian royalty. They ran their own show, their own company,
Right.
and The Rock is the grandson of that. Well, The Rock is also the cousin to Roman Reigns, right? Who is the head of the bloodline, who's the head of the table, the one running the show. You'll see down here, Joe is his real name. His brother Rocky, who passed away, was in the WWE as well. And you see these two guys over here, the Usos, right? So the Usos, sons of Rikishi, if you know anything about the
Rikishi,
WWE,
yeah.
that's their dad. They're the twins, right? So the story has gone on basically that the bloodline, Roman comes back. He's a villain or a heel when he comes back, and he has always been pushed as like the baby face. They wanted him to be the next John Cena. Well, the crowd rejected that. He had got cancer. He fought his way back through leukemia, came back for a little while. Then he left again during the COVID deal, shot a couple movies, did some stuff, came back, and he comes back with the manager named Paul Heyman, who's a guy that's managed Brock Lesnar and Big Show and other people in the past. He's pretty been a villain, pretty much a villain throughout his whole career, right? But he
Right.
has ties to the whole Samoan family. And like I said, the Samoan family bloodline, and I'll pull it up again, is pretty deep, man. They've gone on for generations working for WWE, working for Vince McMahon, working for Vince McMahon's dad. Like, they're knee deep into wrestling, right? They're everywhere, right? And you can look up these websites. From Jimmy Superfly Snuka, like there's, Nia Jax, there's Tamina, there's Umaga, there's Yokozuna, there's all these guys that have come through the bloodline. Well, basically they put a spin on it, like reality. They brought Roman back. He comes back, he starts, killing it, but he's doing kind of heelish tactics, bad guy stuff, right? So his two cousins, the twins, they come along, they join him. He gets them to join him. And he's kind of, over time, basically disrespected them, used them to do his dirty work as he continually wins, right? So it's going on for 3 years. His cousin, Jay, has butted heads with him over this time. So the storyline now is Jay, which in a couple weeks, they're going to have a match for the belt. And it's basically, Roman Reigns is the tribal chief. He's the head of the table. These phrases that he coined, right, that he brought out. And now it's turned into this whole thing. Like, you remember The Rock saying, "Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?" Right?
Right.
That's a phrase that he came up with, that he coined, that he got the. So he's brought his own little catchphrases and stuff into this whole deal. So it's built and built and built, and basically turned into what they say is the greatest storyline in wrestling history. They're like, this thing has gone on. There's so many layers, so many different stuff has happened, and without me getting too deep into it, which everybody should go look online, look on YouTube, check it out, follow along, come
tune in. It comes
watch
on
it
Thursdays, right?
You get SmackDown on Fridays now, 7 to 9, and then you get Raw still on Mondays. But SummerSlam, which is the one always around my birthday in August, is coming up in just a couple of weeks. So that's the big match. Roman versus his cousin. They've got a lot of different family elements involved in it. Not just that they're the twins, but they also have a little brother named Solo, and he is Roman's basically bodyguard. So there's elements of that, of, this brother having to choose between his twin brothers, and then these twin brothers being, pitted against each other, but then ultimately coming together and going against Roman. So there's this big storyline, and people are talking about Roman should get an Emmy. I mean, the guy's been on screen crying on cue. People are like, he's just trying to debut for films and stuff like that, which I don't blame him. And there's actually a funny film that he was just in that's on Netflix that I just watched a couple weeks ago. And he's in, I think it's the Fast and the Furious. He has a cameo.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's going to eventually, go that way.
Every
but right
wrestler
now,
did it, the little startup thing.
I mean, of course, right? You want to, venture off, make $20 million a movie, just like Rock, you know what I mean? But right now, he's trying to give back to the company, to his family, and stuff like that.
Elaborate on that.
Yeah, and I'm going to elaborate on the point that I'm trying to make that nobody's talking about. So there's an interview with Roman where he's talking about how, he played at Georgia Tech, made it to the NFL, got cut, was looking, it sounds similar to the Rock story. He's looking for something to do, looking for his next thing he's going to do in life, right? So he moves into an apartment right next to Jay Uso, who tells him, all right, I'm going to get you up to speed, because they've always been in the business, but he's like, let me get you up, right? So he joins NXT, which is basically the minor leagues to the WWE main roster.
We've been a couple matches.
Yeah, and he started slowly there. Well, the Usos, the twins, were already in the WWE. They're already on the main roster. They had already been, working. So Roman goes through the minor leagues, but quickly they see something in him. Hey, we got to get this guy up there, right? He's involved in this faction called the Shield. The Shield gets on the main roster. The first person to pin Roman Reigns, who was brought up as this badass, this hardcore Samoan dude. He's in this group. He doesn't talk much. He just hurts people, right? He just murks people. The first person to pin Roman on the main roster was Jey Uso. Okay? Keep that in mind. We get the storyline going, ups and downs, lefts and rights. Bloodline gets formed, which is very cool because you got the tag team with the champ. It's cool to see because, sometimes you cheer for the bad guys and hey, these guys deserve to get the limelight that they're getting. So you're kind of cheering for them. But as the story goes on, Roman starts doing more and more, psychological things against the brothers and all these other things to where Jay's not feeling it. Slowly, he breaks away. There was WrestleMania, which happened where he beat Brock Lesnar. Me and Matt were at in Dallas. Then this past January,
and that's your younger brother, my other cousin.
Yeah. All right, and he'll be on this show if I can drag his ass on there one day. But yeah, he's my wrestling buddy. Me and my little brother, we always go to shows. We went in January to the Royal Rumble in San Antonio, where another major part of the storyline happened. Then you roll into the last pay-per-view that just happened, which was Money in the Bank, and you had the Bloodline Civil War, where it was actually the twins versus Roman and his bodyguard Solo, and the person that was the first person to pin Roman Reigns in 3 years, guess who it was? Jey Uso. So the whole thing about Roman giving back to Jey stems from, and this is the part where everybody's missing, right? This is the whole point of me bringing this up. People talk about he should have gave Cody Rhodes also got involved in this. He came over from another company a year or so ago, and everybody's like, this is the guy that's going to beat Roman, right? His dad, Dusty Rhodes, never won the belt. He almost did. He should have won it. Cody Rhodes, he's going to finish the story. That's the storyline. Went to Roman Reigns, WrestleMania in Hollywood, the Hollywood ending. This happened a couple months ago. Guess what happened? Roman wins. Everybody's disappointed. What's going on? Well, if you read between the lines, the interviews that I've read, the interviews I've seen where Roman's actually talking about this stuff, the whole point of this storyline is when Roman came in, he got elevated to the top spot early because of his look. He was a Samoan. They just thought he looks like a movie star, $1 million. He's going to be the next John Cena. So the guys that helped him, the twin cousins, Jey in particular, was the one that, hey man, do this like this. This is what this is. Constantly, he said him and Jey constantly were in that apartment talking every day.
Coaching him.
Right? Coaching him, this and that. And he's been in the business so long, and he knows Jey has been in the business longer than him. His whole point of this storyline is elevating Jey up to his level. Because now Jey's new nickname is Main Event Jey Uso. So there lies the story of this guy, just a tag team guy. Now he's branched up into the main event spot, you know what I mean? And they're fighting for the head of the table, who's the tribal chief, you know what I mean? So that's the big storyline going on right now. And that's what the one thing I think a lot of people are missing is that Roman is building up his cousins up to his level. Like, hey, man, I'm going to pay you back for showing me the game. Yes, exactly. So, if you haven't checked it out, if you're not a wrestling fan, this is the best thing going on in wrestling right now. Give it a shot. Friday Night SmackDown.
Cinema, you said, right?
Yes, they're calling it cinema, and that's why it belongs in this segment that we call Dudes on Cinema. So like I said, Friday Night SmackDown, go and check it out. couple of weeks, go check out SummerSlam. It's on Peacock. So that's what I'm into. That's the cinema of the week coming from me, and that's something that I think that everybody would appreciate checking out, and you might even like it. So the Bloodline story, the best one going on in years. Samoan dynasty, the family. Just like you and me, keep it in the bloodline. That's the big thing going on right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I work so much. I don't, and I don't follow wrestling as much as you do, but I appreciate the hell out of it. And when I do kind of see it, or when we're hanging out and you're exposing me to it, like I'm always kind of like, okay, get me caught back up. Oh, I recognize that guy. Who's that guy? So it's always wrestling's always been part of my life, even if I'm not 100% fan as much as you are. But I'll be at work and especially on like Friday night, especially during the playoffs, you'd have like a basketball game or something on or whatever, and the TV would just at work, the TV would just stay on the channel, and the wrestling would come on, and I'm managing. I'm like, all right, we're gonna let this ride, and and I'm kind of watching, and and I've seen, and they always do the promo videos, and so I've seen the storyline. I saw they're calling it the Bloodline Civil War and stuff. Like, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is interesting. Like, I recognize these people. Oh, they're all related to The Rock. Like, oh man, last time my cousin. So I'm glad you kind of brought it up and got me back.
I really hope one day I can sit you down and just be like, hey, look, check this. This is how the storyline goes, so you can kind of see it, man. Because you would appreciate it, a storyteller or something that's about cinema. This is cinema. I mean, they're calling for Emmy Awards for these people right now.
That's off to like their whole creative writing staff and Vince McMahon and all of them that just kind of put all this together for decades. Like,
I know, right?
Always kept it interesting. Hats off to them for sure. For this segment, the only thing I really have to add, like I said, I work so much. Like you get very limited time to kind of, it's not like it used to be. Like, oh, it's Thursday night. Let's see TV. Let's tune in to blah blah. What So everybody binges. Everybody binges something, or
right.
Pick something to watch, whatever. Blah blah. My new guilty pleasure is a show called Suits, and it was on CBS or one of the big networks.
I think it was on TNT or TBS or something like that.
Maybe
I saw it on regular TV.
You might be right.
But I have seen the first or second episode. And I know it's the
it
girl
might have been TNT or something. Now that you say that, I know it wasn't on like the cable channels. Like HBO or something, right? Back in the day.
No, it wasn't. It was on cable.
Yeah,
cable TV.
Yeah,
it wasn't on the app or subscription service.
Yeah, well, back in the day, like remember, like when you had your shows, and then like when Sopranos hit on HBO, it was like, oh shit, it's a little different now with everything being so streaming, but I do remember the show being on TV. I never watched it when it was on TV, like live, like actively still on air. They're all like syndicated episodes. It's they don't I'm pretty sure they don't make the show anymore. I don't even know how many seasons there are. I think it's like 13 or something. I haven't got that far. I'm only on like season 3 maybe. But I got into that guilty pleasure because my daughter would watch Netflix, or watch a random something on Netflix, and how when it ends it would show you might like this, or check out this on Netflix, and always plays like a snippet of something. And for some reason, Suits kept popping up. I don't know if it was just popular because that's what other people were watching, or I like to watch Forensic Files and Law and Order and stuff like that. So maybe Netflix knew that, or I watched something on Netflix similar to that. I don't know, but it kept popping up, and it'd be this one little snippet of the scene from like the first episode. And I knew the premise of the show before I started watching it. I knew it was, you know, super genius kid who never went to law school is now partners with this lawyer. That's really all I knew. But I kept seeing this scene over and over. And finally, one day, it was a couple weeks ago. I was on vacation, a staycation, and we were just kind of hanging out, relaxing, watching stuff, and that happened. And I was like, you know what? Me being the guy I am, the writer, film guy, I was like, I've got to put context to this scene. I have to understand what's going on. And so watched the first episode. I was like, okay, that was a good pilot. Cool. And I checked the next episode out. Next thing you know, a couple hours later, I was almost done with season 1. You know, me and my girl, it became our little guilty pleasure. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. It's a cool show. If you haven't seen it, it's worth watching. I appreciate the fact that, like, there's so many stuff you stream out there. You know, I know you love, King of Thrones and stuff like that, but like, it was cool to see a show that's like side text. Like, I'm the kind of guy, like, when The Walking Dead came out, it came out when I was still living in South Carolina, right before I moved here. And I got hooked. It was great. You know, I moved, kind of kept up with it. And then all of a sudden, everybody was talking about it. And I don't know why, but that kind of
Turns
turned
you
me
off.
off for the show.
Yeah, that's exactly how I am. I don't. Okay,
Just like,
everybody's into it now. Forget about it.
yeah, just
That's
like,
just how I am.
you know, I never got into Stranger Things because, like, I kind of heard about it, but it was too late because it was just like, you have to watch it. You have
It
to
gets
watch
too
it.
trendy though, and it's like, now I don't want to watch it.
No,
I start seeing the
I'm
commercials.
sure it's great, and it sounds like something I would like, and I probably will watch it one day.
To a certain extent, but then you're gonna start going, man, they could have made it better. They could have did this. That's what I do. I mean, I pick stuff
It
apart.
goes back to for me, it goes back to the same thing with music and the albums and stuff. Like, I'm so willing to give stuff a shot and check it out.
Yeah,
but like, it's got to be on my terms, my time. Like, a lot of people kept telling me to get into that show, Yellowstone, and I watched like maybe 2
I don't think
episodes.
that's up your alley, honestly.
I watched like 2 episodes and I got bored, you know.
But did you watch it with your girl or did you watch it by yourself? I watched that show with my girl, and that's our thing. But it's not like a show I'm gonna go like, oh, like, to me, I'll watch The Sopranos with her, without her.
Right.
I need The Sopranos. Sopranos teaches me things. It makes me laugh. It gives me all the whole sundial of emotions and everything I need. But yeah, I mean, that's just rare to find with the show. But like, yeah, Yellowstone to me is more like I watch it with my girl. So, I mean, but Suits, I have watched with her. She likes it. I liked it. I'm gonna have to check out a couple more episodes. I think we only got to like the 3rd or 4th one.
And you know, like, it's funny because honestly, like, a show like Yellowstone should have been more up my alley. But it's kind of like Suits is more up my alley now, where I'm at in my life. I don't know why, but like, I you know, I don't understand a lot of the lawyer jargon that's in there, and you know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But they don't go so highbrow where, like, you know,
but they don't bang you over the head with it.
Yeah, like, if you don't know it, you can't keep up with what's going on. You know, you get invested in the characters,
personalities,
you get invested in the characters, and to me, that's what it's about. And funny fact, one of the females on that show is, I think, Prince Harry's wife now. Like,
as soon as I saw her, I'm like, wait, oh yeah, that's what I remember.
See, I didn't know that.
I remember hearing that.
My girlfriend, Brittany, you know, my fiance, she's the one that pointed it out to me. You know what I mean? Like, she was like, hey.
I'm sure that blew your mind. You're like, what the?
I was kind of like, damn, really? Like, I didn't know anything about her. I thought Prince Henry had just met some chick in England and, you know, whatever. Like, I didn't know if In my head, I just assumed she was a model or something, and that's just why they hooked up or whatever. I had no
I mean,
idea.
basically the same thing.
I mean, what? Yeah, I had no idea she
She
actually
wouldn't
had
have
a
met him if
career in
he,
acting. You know what I mean? I didn't know she was in a show or done stuff. I didn't know. I didn't know anything. I didn't really know anything about that whole family anyway. Not like I keep up with them or something, but it was kind of funny. Like it. So yeah, that's my guilty pleasure right now. That's where I'm at on the DOC of the week. As it keeps going, I'll tell you if I fall off or not. But so far, it's pretty cool. It's enough to I watch a couple episodes when I get off work. Sometimes my girl or my days off. But it is something we share, and I think that's always cool. It's nice to have your own like cinema that you like, and then it's nice to have your shared shows with your significant other. If you are in a relationship out there, you should probably, have that habit if you don't already do. I'm sure most of us do, but
yeah, buddy, you got to learn to do it.
in this segment going forward, like I'd love to dissect some of our old favorites growing up. I'm sure Die Hard is going to be up there. Lots of Godzilla to talk about, and I'm a huge Jaws fan, so this will be a cool segment as we keep going.
And even if we get more detailed of scenes or episodes or certain things like we can explain it, because there's a bunch of things on The Sopranos that I'm sure a lot of people don't get. But if I break it down to you and kind of tell you the setting and the scene and why this is funny or why this and that, that would help.
I'd like to also explore.
Across my point.
We've talked about it before. I'd also love to explore like different ideas on some of our old favorite stuff, like shows and movies that it'd be cool to see a prequel to this, or it'd be cool if there was a spinoff of this character of this. Like we've talked about that kind of stuff a lot. I think that'd be something cool to talk about in the future.
Most definitely. Yeah, that's segment 3, DOC, Dudes on Cinema. So